Right, guys and girls, welcome again to another Whiskey Wednesday. Unfortunately, this week there won't actually be any physical tasting going on. This is my Whiskey of the Year review. There are 5 whiskies altogether. At the minute you can only see 4 of them, so I'm leaving number 1 as quite a big surprise. But don't fret, all of these whiskies either have already been reviewed in my brief tenure in charge of this channel, or will be reviewed towards the start and throughout next year. So, not going to go into too much detail with these because obviously we'll save that for the videos that are all on them. I'm quite excited to hear what all of your individual whiskies of the year are, things that you've tried for the first time this year or things that are brand new out this year. 4 of the whiskies, the 4 you can see, are 4 whiskies that were launched this year and 4 whiskies that I've had the pleasure of trying this year. My number 1 actually came out last year, but I only tried it for the first time this year, and in that sense I think it's quite deserving of the award. So we will crack on from number 5 through to number 2, and rolling in the doorstep at number 5 is this stunning bottle here. Now, any of you that have watched a couple of my reviews, you know that I'm a bit of a Macallan fan, and let's be brutally honest, well, let's not be brutal about it, let's be honest, Macallan over the last 3 years hasn't really been ticking a lot of people's boxes. They've picked up a lot of new whiskey drinkers, which is great. Any brand that can get people into whiskey is always fantastic, but they've not sufficed a lot of their old school clientele, and if they have, it's always been with bottles that are, you know, ludicrously expensive, you know, either sort of £200 or a couple of £1,000 per bottle. This, however, changed quite a lot of things for me. This is the Macallan edition number 2, and this is a collaboration between Bob Delgano of Macallan, who is their master blender and master whiskey maker, and the guys at El Cellar de Can Roca, who have been voted to the best restaurant in the world twice. They're based in Spain, and 3 brothers whose names I forget, so I'll read them off the back of this box, or the front of the box rather. Josep Roca, Juan Roca, and Jordi Roca, along with Bob Delgano, selected 4 of their favourite casks, so 1 each, and they combined them all together to get this wonderful, wonderful liquid. I tried this for the first time at a tasting and was just genuinely quite astounded. By far the best single malt Macallan I've tried in the past 3 to 5 years. In terms of new releases, anyway. I wasn't a big fan of the rare cask. I can now use this phrase because I heard a Jewer's whiskey rep use it and it made me laugh my arse off. The Macallan Stripper series, the Gold, Amber, Sienna and the Ruby, haven't impressed me on any basic level at all. They're okay at best. That's obviously just a personal view. And then things like the 18-year-old and all that kind of thing, they're just becoming too expensive. The cask selection isn't as good a quality as it used to be. And again, that's all personal perception. But this fella, even though it's a non-age statement product, absolutely phenomenal. All the toffee, all the oak, all the kind of wonderful dry woody spice you could ever want in a bottle of whiskey. Macallan number 2. Number 3 is coming out next year, so I'll no doubt I'll pick up a bottle of that as well. And you guys will see the review for that coming in the new year, hopefully. So that was whiskey number 5. We'll just put that guy to one side. Whiskey number 4 comes in lovely Laphroaig 10 cask strength. Batch number 8, released this year. I did actually give this whiskey a 10 out of 10 because it is an amazing product. So if you haven't watched that review, please do go back and watch it. It was one of my first 6 reviews, I believe. So yeah, I gave it a 10 out of 10, but it doesn't mean it was my favourite whiskey of the year. And I know that's a little bit contradictory, but I stand by it. This thing does everything I ever wanted it to do, plus a little bit more. It's got the kind of the bravado and the machismo that you want from a cask strength Islay whiskey, along with being something that has some of the most beautifully subtle tasting notes that I've ever come across. With Laphroaig, I always get things like white chocolate and macadamia nut, kind of, you know, warm cookie dough kind of flavours and that kind of thing. And this delivered it in bucketfuls. I've never had a bad Laphroaig. They've all been great. Independent bottlings, standard bottlings, I've adored them all. They're probably my favourite Islay distillery, and I'm still yet to go and visit there. So next year, Islay, or Laphroaig particularly, watch me because I'll be absolutely annoying the hell out of all of you, asking you all the geeky questions in the world. But yeah, number 4, Laphroaig 10 cask strength. Number 3 was tricky, because I had to decide between these 2. And they're 2 quite astonishing bottles. But rolling in at number 3 with its wonderful, affordable, fruity complexity, it's that fella right there. compass box. Now, I didn't do any videos for the channel when the transparency campaign was going around, but Joe did an awesome video based on it, and this thing was planned to be released anyway. It's a combination of Mortlach, Balblair, Glentuckus, and I believe a little bit of Clynelish, and those are 4 astonishing distilleries. And the first time I tried this was with 2 really close friends. One of them bought a sample from a website and we split it between the 3 of us, and it's like someone has just distilled fruit salad. It is the cleanest, richest, fruitiest, most summery whiskey I've ever come across in my entire life. Bottled at 46%, limited release of only I think a couple of thousand bottles. There's not a lot of it going around. And I was finishing off my Christmas shopping the other day, just getting the last few pieces, and I walked past a shop that had it in the window, and I thought, you know what, it's 59 quid. I know it tastes amazing, there's not a lot of it kicking around. I'm going to be opening this at some point, so there you go. Compass Box Enlightenment, Whisky of the Year number 3. Truly outstanding. I love everything this company does. I am quite the fanboy, in all honesty. But yeah, never had a bad compass box either. So it's been really nice. And again, I did a hedonism review a couple of weeks ago, and you know, a lot of people love that bottle. Getting a lot of positive feedback in the comment section. The review for this thing will be very, very good. So I look forward to doing that and sharing my views personally with all of you. So it doesn't really leave much to contention now, does it? Whiskey number 2, Lagavulin 8-year-old. Now, the video I put up for this got, well, it was quite a minefield of comments in all honesty. It's a whiskey that is sub 10 years old. It's a whiskey that is chill filtered, and it is a whiskey that is has additional colouring in it too, which goes against a lot of connoisseur styles. I don't view myself as a whiskey connoisseur. I don't particularly like the word. I think it brings up too many negative connotations. I'm just someone who really likes whiskey, and I love talking about it, I love reading about it, I love learning about it. And when Lagavulin launched this, and especially when they launched it at its price tag, which was about, what, £55? Something like that. It wasn't expensive. Over the moon. Bought it without even trying it, because I knew an 8-year-old Lagavulin at 46% was going to taste pretty good. And it fulfilled all the criteria, just like the Laphroaig, that I could ever want from it. I'm a big believer that Islay whiskey is at its best when it's young. And if you want that big hit of peat smoke, you get a young Islay, which is why a lot of Islay distilleries have a 10 or a 12-year-old, because it works so well. Lagavulin was always the exception, because at 16 years old it's still pretty smoky and it is still very rich. But I love the spirity style of this. I love how clean it is, I love how fresh it is, and I love that it reminds me of like really good quality tequila, and it reminds me of some of the greatest selection of Islay moments that I've ever had throughout my life trying Islay whiskey. It brought back so much nostalgia, so many memories for me, and all in all, it was just an amazing bottle of whiskey. Bonfires on the beach. Always will be. I'm trying to get hold of another bottle of that, because I want to be able to drink this in future years' time. So if any of you have any sources as to where has this in the UK, please let me know, because I need another bottle of this as well. But yeah, really, 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 really good. And as I said on the video, I don't care that it's got colouring in it, I don't care that it's chill filtered. Yes, without the chill filtration it would taste even better, but even with the chill filtration it tastes pretty damn good. So as for that, number 2 in the full 5 lineup of the year. If none of you have seen the Lagavulin 8-year-old video, I suggest you go and watch it and read through the comment section, because it is quite a torrent of different views and different opinions on what whiskey should be. It's too subjective to say. Everyone likes things for their own reasons. Some people are really purists, some people, you know, just buy whiskey once a year. Some people, as long as I'm in the market of, if it tastes good on a basic level and it's affordable, it doesn't really matter. And this did all of that. Yeah, if it wasn't chill filtered, it would probably taste even better. But I'm not a master distiller, and neither are a lot of the people who do the comments in the sections either. So whatever the master distiller says is what the master distiller gets done. And this is chill filtered because they probably wanted it chill filtered, because it's owned by a big company and it's sold all over the world. So you can't do anything about it, can you? Deal with it, accept it, it's an awesome whiskey. So, number 1. And after I reveal this product, I expect a lot of people to be a little bit baffled, perhaps. It's a whiskey that was released last year, and as soon as it landed on the shelf, much like the Lagavulin, I went, that's going to be awesome. I picked the bottle up, I purchased it, and I've been living happily ever since. I've got another 2 bottles sat waiting in my cupboards for future drinking years, and the winner of Whisky Wednesday's, well, my ownership of Whisky Wednesday's Whisky of the Year, Woodford Reserve Rye. Now, this isn't like any other rye I've ever come across before in my entire life. It is only 53% rye. Legally, to be called a rye whiskey, you got to use 51%. It only uses 53% rye. The rest of it is an amalgamation of corn and malted barley. And there is something just truly wonderful about this style. The video review for this will be something quite special, along with the series of whiskey that this distillery makes. I'm trying to get something really awesome for you guys lined up, which is why we're not tasting this one in this video in particular. But I remember cracking the cork, pouring the first glass, and I think rye whiskey, I think it's dry, it's particularly spicy, and it can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes. It's a big, robust flavour. You know, rye itself is a flavour grain. Bourbon producers use it to give a bit of spice and a bit of oomph to a whiskey, because if it's all corn, it's going to be really thick and really sweet. And as soon as I think rye, I think Sazerac and Bullet. And Sazerac I adore, because it's like drinking like vanilla cream with pepper in it. It's a really sweet but spicy style. Bullet rye is something that's never particularly won me over, because I think it's too soapy. It's a bit too herbaceous with kind of like parsley and coriander and all that kind of thing. Doesn't really hit my box at all. This thing is a little bit of everything. It's got, because it's got such a high corn content, it's got that really big sweet vanilla creme caramel custard thing going on, throwing in a majority of it being rye, which just gives you this wonderful nutmeg and cinnamon allspice style. Just really, really fascinating. Genuinely amazing whiskey. And as with all ryes and with all American whiskies, you get that lovely hit of eucalyptus and mint towards the back of it. Really exceptional, really special, a whiskey that I hold very dear to my heart and has given it this crowning glory. I don't have a trophy or anything to give it, but I know that when I drink this, this is the best whiskey I've tried all year. That's going to be a little bit controversial. Some of you will be going a bit nuts, you know, oh, it's not single malt, you know, what is the Japanese stuff, all this kind of thing. Tried some awesome single malts this year. What, 3 of them are there. Tried some awesome Japanese whiskey, tried some awesome Taiwanese whiskey, tried some amazing American, Irish, French whiskey. I've tried some awesome French whiskey this year. But that just stood out over everything for me. It's not particularly expensive in any way at all. It's 50 quid or below, which is always great for people who can't afford, you know, Macallan 25s, because I can't. For people who just have everyday jobs and enjoy whiskey, it's an affordable price, it tastes absolutely fantastic, and it is from a distillery that holds true to my heart in every way. Brown-Forman is going from strength to strength. They've just got back into the Scotch whisky market, which I'm particularly excited for. There'll be a few things going away, like, you know, I believe like Benriach 16 goes away next year, and the 20-year-old gets replaced with a 21-year-old, and the 12-year-old Old Sherry cask is going. But I don't think people should be disheartened by that, because it just means that the, you know, a big brand's coming in. You've got to kind of restrain everything, see what sells, and then they're still going to do all that fun limited edition cask, you know, expression stuff. Billy Walker's still in charge too. I've said this over 3 videos now, 3 separate videos, so don't fret, it will be fine. But yeah, 2017 Whisky Wednesday, Whisky of the Year, Woodford Rye. I will be sure to inform them of this. I'm sure they probably don't care. They've got a lot more pressing things to deal with than telling me that, you know, thank you for giving us this award. But nonetheless, guys and girls, there you go. 2017 Woodford Rye. And next year, God knows what's going to be thrown into the ether, but I will look forward to reviewing and expressing my thoughts with every single one of you. So thank you very much. Thank you for watching this video, and by all means in the comment section, please tell me to this point what you think your favourite whiskey of the year was. Cheers guys, thank you.